Hello everybody, this is our third lesson on planets, and today we're going to be looking at describing the movement of the moon relative to the Earth. So our key vocabulary for today's lesson then is planet, which is a body moving in an elliptical orbit around a star. Spherical, which means something shaped like a sphere, like a round circle. We've got the sun, which is the star which the Earth orbits around, sorry. Moon is a natural satellite of any planet. A star is a fixed luminous point in the sky, which is a large remote body like the sun. Earth is a planet which we live on. Rotation is another key vocabulary, which is a circular movement of an object around an axis. An axis is an imaginary line which a body rotates. Okay, then let's have a look. So, what different things orbit the Earth? So there's lots of different things that are actually orbiting our Earth. For example, there's thousands of different satellites orbiting the Earth. So the satellites are used for a number of different reasons. Some of them provide us with satellite TV, and there's other entertainment services as well, which have sent satellites up, and that's how we get them on all of our TVs across the world. There's also the International Space Station, where there's some astronauts that live there. Space shuttles are often sent up to the International Space Station as well. There's also actually quite a lot of space debris, which actually become caught in orbit around the Earth, such as like old satellites that aren't used anymore, bits of space rockets. So when the space rockets have gone up, any bits that have come off, they might have been caught in space debris and caught in an orbit around the Earth. Okay then, right, so it says here a little bit of thinking time. What actually stops all the things that's orbiting Earth falling towards the Earth? Have a think. It's a little challenge. If you know what it is, you can put it on the end of your assignment and let me know. So what is it? It starts with a G that stops the things that are orbiting around the Earth actually fall and hit Earth. What's stopping it? Okay then, so today we're going to be looking at the Earth, the moon, which orbits the Earth. So what is the moon then? The Earth's moon is not a planet, but it's a satellite which orbits the Earth. It's around a quarter of the size of the Earth with a diameter of 3,476 kilometres. Scientists aren't sure exactly how the moon was formed, although the main theory is that around 4.5 billion years ago, a body the size of Mars crashed into the Earth. Then the debris, so the bits that have come off the Earth from the crash, is believed to then have formed the moon. The moon has a thick layer of hard rock, and then it's covered in regolith, which is like moon soil. So just a reminder then, so a satellite isn't just something that we have sent up to space giving us connection to like TV, but a satellite is just a body, so a thing in space that orbits a planet. Okay, then a little bit more about the moon. So the largest object that orbits our Earth is the moon. So again, the moon's not a planet. It is around 239,000 miles away from the Earth, so it's quite far away. And it takes the moon 27 days for it to orbit the Earth. So the 27 days the moon orbits all the way around the Earth. Now we only ever see one side of the moon, and I'm going to come to that in the next few slides about why we only see one side of the moon. So a quick fact then, at night time we all think of the moon shining or giving off light. So at night time, if you go out into the garden or outside, you can see the moon, and some people think that the moon is actually giving off light and it's shining towards us. However, the moon doesn't actually produce its own light. The reason we see the moon is because it's reflecting the light from the sun. So the sun shines and it hits the moon and it reflects it, and that means that we can see it. Okay then, let's have a look at the movement of the moon and its orbit. So the moon orbits the Earth then once every 27.3 days. It orbits the Earth in an oval shape called an ellipsis. Because of this shape, the moon is sometimes nearer and sometimes further away from the Earth. So sometimes it's a little bit closer, sometimes it's further away. This is because it does an egg shape, a bit like an oval. So the Earth's in the middle, it does an oval. When it's at the side, it's a bit closer. And when it's further away, it's at the top of the oval and the bottom, it's further away from the Earth. So the range of distance from the Earth is between 364,397 kilometres to around 406,731 kilometres. So not only does the moon orbit around the Earth, just like the Earth does, the moon actually rotates on its axis. So as it's orbiting, the moon actually turns. The rotation that the moon does is anti-clockwise as well, just like the Earth. So the moon takes 27.3 days to orbit around the Earth, and it takes 28 days for it to rotate round once. Now, because the moon spins and orbits at the same rate of time, it appears to be still from Earth. That's why it doesn't look like it's moving. Scientists call this synchronous rotation. The word synchronize means that things all happen at the same time. So the moon turns and moves at the same time, which is called synchronous rotation. The Earth and the moon actually both rotate for the same length of time. This is called tidal lock-in. Because of tidal lock-in, we only ever see one side of the moon from Earth. So because the moon is rotating round and it's moving round, and the Earth is also rotating at the same time, that means that we only ever see one side of the moon. So then we need to think about the shape of the moon, because when we look out into the sky, we see the different shapes of the moon. It's not always a circle. So at various times of the month, the moon looks different. This is because as the moon rotates around the Earth, the sun lights up different parts of it. So if the sun is here, the sunlight is shining on to the moon, you can see it's just shining on to one side, which is the side which changes the shape of the moon that we can see. So the moon has different phases. And some of the phases, so we have a full moon, which is when you can see the whole circle of the moon. Then we have a waxing gibbous, which is when you can't see just a small part of it. We have a waxing half moon, which means you can see half of the moon. There's something called a waxing crescent, which is when you can just see a small part of it. We've got a new moon, which means none of it's visible from Earth. We have a waning crescent, which means you can just see some of it, but on the other side. We've got a waning half moon, which again means you can see half of it, but it's the opposite side to the waxing half moon. And we have a waning gibbous, which again means you can see most of it apart from just a small section. Okay, so for your task today, what I want you to do is your first task will be to label the different phases of the moon to the diagram in the correct number. So, for example, your diagram is here. And because I know some of you had some problems yesterday with moving the text boxes into the correct place, I've done it slightly different. So your table here has the keywords down one side and has the diagram number. Now the first one says sun. So what you've got to do is you've got to figure out which box do you think means sun. Now I think number 10 is sun. So what I would do is under diagram number next to sun, I would do the number 10. So let me show you if you can. I'm sure you can see this board, but if you can see it. So for example, sun, I think is number 10. So I would just put diagram number 10. So new moon, which one do I think is new moon? I think number 3 is there. I think it's number 3. So I put number 3. And then so on. You've got to do that for each of these keywords. And hopefully that will make it a little bit of an easier task rather than having to drag the keywords onto the correct place. Okay, once you've done that, what I'd like you to do is fill in the missing words for these sentences. So the moon, something, the Earth, once every 27.3 something. So what does the moon do around the Earth? When we gradually see more of the moon, it's called what? So that's, you've got to look at your diagram to help you. As you're gradually seeing more of the moon, what is it called? It's this side here, look. Is it a waxing or is it waning? Have a think. And then your last one is when we gradually see less of the moon, it is called so on. As an extra challenge, if you would like to, what you can do is you can put do an enter and do another paragraph, and if you've got any other facts about the moon or anything else that you know, you can do some research and you can just type them in full sentences at the bottom there. Okay, don't forget that your worksheet is going to be posted on the assignment tab on Teams, and that this assignment needs to be handed in by the end of today. Okay, thank you everybody, and I will see you in tomorrow's Planet lesson.